Welcome to Paleobites, the podcast where professionalism and etiquette go the way of the dinosaur and die. My name's Matthew Donald, and each episode I and a rotating set of guest co-hosts talk about and rate a genus of prehistoric animal, be it dinosaur, mammal, arthropod, and so on. This week I'm joined by my college friend of mine, very good college friend of mine, Stephen Curro, right? That's how you pronounce it?
Yes, Curro. Hello. Nice to be here.
Yes, you are, unlike my previous co-host, Christina, a fellow dino nerd.
Yes. Mwahaha.
Nice. And you said this is one of the first times you've been on a podcast? Or?
My first formal podcast. When I was in high school, we recorded something like a radio show with my friends. I don't think it ever went on the internet. It was just something goofy we did.
Okay, well, not that this isn't also something goofy, but...
it's goofy in a good way.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so one thing I like to talk about with people when they is at the beginning of the episode is I'd ask them a certain dinosaur question, and I guess the question I'll ask you, what is your favorite dinosaur movie?
Ooh, dinosaur movie. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I mean, Jurassic Park is a classic. Yeah. It's hard to beat that one.
It's a good one. And if you can't think of it, how about your least favorite?
Well, my least favorite would be this really crappy rendition of The Lost World. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The
Lost World. Not the Michael Crichton one.
Yeah. It's where, I don't know, it was made in the 90s or something, and it was just really dark and convoluted, and the monster effects were not good.
Wasn't it a TV movie, I think, maybe?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, I think I remember catching that on TV once.
It was stupid. I didn't like it. But yeah, I saw that one once, a long time ago. Never watched it again.
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, it might be fun to watch it again just so we could mock it.
That's true. Some of those are good to mock. I think the one I said was the original 1 million years BC. Not the one from the 60s, like an even earlier one in like the 40s or something.
Right, that's the one. I saw a clip of that.
Yeah, where they don't even use stop motion, they use iguanas as the dinosaurs.
I saw the beginning where he wrestles with a toy or something. Yeah, he's supposed to be hunting a triceratops, so he wrestles a toy, and it's like, really?
Right. I mean, you might say, oh, but they were doing the best they could at the time. Well, King Kong came out earlier, and that had good stop motion effects. That wasn't the best they could do.
That movie was revolutionary. Have you seen that T-Rex?
Yeah, exactly. God. Have you seen Kong? Like, his fur even moves in the wind, kind of.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's not the best they could do. They just...
Yeah. No. Something to do with budgeting, I imagine.
Probably. Budgeting and the old Hollywood ways. I think if it was made in the 40s, too, probably the war didn't help.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah.
So... Yeah. All right. So, I brought you on as a dinosaur expert, even though this week we are not talking about a dinosaur. I planned things well.
It is one of the animals that I like to talk about with. I'm an educator, for those who don't know. I work as a middle school paraprofessional and a tutor.
Prime dinosaur fanboyism.
Exactly.
Age.
So I love to teach paleontology whenever I can, and there's one animal that always comes up that people think is a dinosaur, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, because it doesn't even look like a dinosaur. Like it looked
teeny bit.
I mean, the shape of the head kind of looks like a meat-eating dinosaur. I don't know why we're hiding it. It's going to be in the name of the episode. It's Dimetrodon.
Dimetrodon.
2 measured teeth. It is a synapsid, which is also known as a mammal-like reptile. Mm-hmm. Or also, I think synapsid is like an overarching branch that includes...
I've got the book right
Okay,
here.
yes, get the book.
I have the Princeton Field Guide to Prehistoric Mammals.
Whoa, that sounds so official. We better use it.
Yes. Where is it? Okay. It says here, Synapsa split off from reptiles in the early Carboniferous.
Wait, so that means our nearest... Our most recent common ancestor between us and dinosaurs is all the way back in the Carboniferous.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Very long time ago. So, I mean, I think Dimetrodon particularly was Permian or something like that.
Yeah, it was early Permian.
But these creatures started popping up way back then, and those are the precursors of what eventually became mammals.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the later ones even looked like mammals, like the Gorgonopsids, the ones that had saber teeth and had a wolf-like body.
Yeah. I think there's a picture of him right here. Yeah. Gorgonops.
Yeah.
He looks green for those of you who are listening.
That's one.
One interpretation.
Yes, I've seen some people put fur on him. So
maybe, who knows?
So, yeah. Yep. So at the beginning, I kind of like to go over the stats of the creature. There's actually like many varied species in this genus. So the size varies. It can be 2 to 15 feet long.
Wow, that's dramatic. I didn't know that.
or 0.8 to 4.5 meters long. It can be 15 to 550 pounds, or 7 to 250 kilograms.
Is it possible some of those are just juveniles that they found?
Then possibly. I don't know. This is what according to my extensive research on Wikipedia, which... But I also like to verify the references to make sure they're right. But, no, apparently some of them, they're considered separate species. There's 12 different species of Dimetrodons.
Wow.
So, I don't know, somehow they can tell if they're adults or not. Maybe something in the bone structure. I don't know.
Could be.
So it was a carnivore, and it had various distinct mammalian teeth, kind of, that shows it was a carnivore. But, because it had canines, like a mammal does.
I think it's also the skull, the shape of the skull that kind of gives it away.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at it like a dinosaur's teeth, they all kind of look the same. That's the difference between a dinosaur's teeth and a mammal's teeth. We have a lot of different types of teeth in our body.
When it comes to carnivores, anyway. I mean,
even I guess
you compare a T-Rex tooth to a Pachycephalosaurus tooth.
No. What I mean is they all kind of look the same to each other. In the mouth.
Oh yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No. All the of course, there's a lot of varied dinosaur teeth. Yeah. But what I mean is the mouth. In the mouth, they're all kind of the same. Mm-hmm. So, Dimetrodon and mammals in general, they have a lot of very different teeth. That's why, it has, sharp teeth in the front and, really long canines in the front, and sort of shorter teeth in the back. That's why it's called two-measured tooth. So...
Oh, is that what that means?
Dimetrodon.
Dimetrodon. Oh, I did not know that.
Yep.
Cool.
So, it was a carnivore. It lived in the early Permian, 295 to 272 million years ago. So that's quite a successful species. That's 23 million years.
Yeah, that's a pretty big chunk.
I mean, if there was 12 of them, though, then I guess
Makes
12
sense.
Different species. Then
so someone was carrying the torch at some point,
right? There were. Let's see.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, okay, go. What do you got?
I was just going to ask, where did they find this thing?
Oh, well, I actually brought it up here next. Oklahoma and Texas, USA, as well as Germany, oddly enough.
Germany?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, it was all Pangea back then.
Yeah, or at least it was getting really close, I think.
Pangea-ish.
Pangea started to form, I think, near the end of the Permian, and that's one of the reasons why the Permian extinction happened, because...
Are you sure? I thought it was the Carboniferous where it was really Pangea.
Hold on. Let me Google this.
Okay.
We're very professional here, listeners.
We'll fact check this.
Okay. While I'm doing this, what's your favorite dinosaur in general?
In general, I really like Saurophaganax.
Saurophaganax is so cool!
I didn't know that guy existed until I watched the documentary, what's it called? Planet Dinosaur, that's what it was called. BBC documentary, Planet Dinosaur, really cool. And they show this awesome scene where an Allosaurus stalks and successfully takes down a Stegosaurus, and then suddenly this Saurophaganax shows up, and he's like a bigger Allosaurus. It's like, holy cow!
Yeah, no, it is pretty big. I think it's T-Rex size, but it's from the Jurassic, which is so weird.
That's very unusual, yeah.
Yeah,
makes me wonder what else we missed.
Oh. Okay, so you were correct. You were right, actually. Yeah, Pangea assembled 335 million years ago, and it broke apart around 175. So that wasn't the Carboniferous. My bad.
Well, it's very we're dealing with so many millions of years. It's very easy to get these things mixed up.
Of course.
It happens to me all the time.
I mean, 335 million, 175. That's little time at all. I mean, it's like next week, right?
To the planet, yes.
So. Okay, yep, and it was described in 1878. It's one of the classic ones. Pop culture appearances, it was in Fantasia briefly. I think it was in Land Before Time.
It was. There's a scene where he briefly walks by.
Which is not right, but...
Well, the whole movie is mixed with dinosaurs.
But I know, I've brought this up before. I don't know if I brought it up on the podcast, but Land Before Time, for the dinosaurs it depicts them quite accurately for the time. Like, did you know that Land Before Time was the first dinosaur movie to correctly depict long-necked dinosaurs as having their tails always off the ground?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Rather than dragging in the dirt like they did before.
Huh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I love it even more now. But Apatosaurus and, say, Triceratops.
Yeah, they were not. Littlefoot and Sarah would not be friends.
Same thing with Spike. I think he's supposed to be a Stegosaurus.
It is, but he doesn't have the spikes, even though he's named Spike.
He's a baby.
That's true. We never see an adult Spike, do we? Or an adult version of his
Maybe
kind.
In one of the later movies. I don't know.
I lost
There are
track.
like 14 of them, 15 of them.
And then like a series.
Yeah, there was a show I saw a little bit. And I honestly stopped keeping track at like 7.
Yeah, I think the last one I watched was 5 when I was a kid. The Mysterious Island.
Yeah, that one was all right.
Yeah, they were okay. The first one's still the best, though.
That one actually bothered me because there's that scene between Chomper's parents and that weird theropod that's probably not a real dinosaur.
Actually, I looked it up. That's supposed to be a Giganotosaurus.
Really?
Yeah.
It was smaller.
Oh, it was?
I remember, I could be wrong. As I remember, it was a little smaller, but it was mean and it was quick and it clawed one of Chomper's parents and there was a little blood there.
Yeah, I remember that. It's like, whoa, hardcore.
It could be. Maybe
I think I googled this because, like, actually, the later Land Before Time is one thing to give them credit for. They use a lot of obscure species rather than the first one uses a lot of classic ones.
That's true.
And so yeah, I think I read the Chomper is supposed to be a T-Rex, as are his parents, but that was supposed to be Giganotosaurus. Now they're all from all different times of dinosaurs, but again, this is a world where where it's like that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's a kids movie.
Yeah.
I try not to harp on it too much.
I'm sure kids were confused that there was a shark in that one, but not knowing that sharks have been around for a very long time.
There was a shark in that one.
Yeah, remember they were trying to go. They were on a log trying to float back from the island back home, and then they ran into a shark.
Yeah,
they called it a swimming shark tooth.
Ugh, it's been so. That makes sense. It's been so long since I've seen it. I haven't. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Yes. Okay. So enough about Land Before Time.
Yeah, there's a tangent for you.
Yes, walking with monsters. It was in. And in that show, it kind of knew how famous Dimetrodon was. It made it like a big deal when it showed up, and like nice. Even did like kind of like a sort of Jaws thing where it was walking behind a hill, and all you saw was its sail.
Clever.
And as it was building up the anticipation. So,
do you have Cosmos in that list?
It was in Cosmos?
The skeleton of one.
I don't.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about the Permian extinction, the great dying and all that, and he shows this desolate wasteland, and there's a Dimetrodon skeleton right there.
Really? That's cool. Oh, wait, I don't think Dimetrodon, though, was during the Permian extinction. I think it died before.
Probably, yeah.
That's okay, though. It's Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's okay.
Yeah, he's cool.
I'll forgive him. All right, so yes, as we mentioned, though, before about Dimetrodon, and we want to reiterate again and again, this is not a dinosaur.
No. If I may quote straight from the Princeton Guide of Mammals.
Please.
Wait, where is it? Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Most people are familiar with the finback fossils, such as Dimetrodon and Adaphosaurus, which is like a cousin.
Yes.
Which appear in many dinosaur books for kids, and often in toy kits of dinosaurs as well. Except these animals are not dinosaurs. They are among the earliest synapsids. And it goes on and on to explain more about that.
Synapsids, one thing I was thinking about saying earlier, but I'm not sure. I need to clarify at some point. Maybe I don't know. I think synapsids aren't just mammal-like reptiles. It's the whole superorder that mammals are a part of.
Yeah,
so we're synapsids, you and I.
I guess technically, yeah, we are synapsids. But they're like one of the earliest synapsids.
Yeah. So this was a synapsid. So so because of that, it was related to mammals. So therefore, it's more of a almost direct, not quite direct, but near direct ancestor of us over dinosaurs, which is
our great times a trillion
uncle. Or something. Not quite grandfather, but I don't think. Maybe it is. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, nothing about it is dinosaur-like except for kind of the head. It looks a little dinosaurian, but yeah,
But I can't count how many times I've seen it in kids' books, and I bought a bucket of little dinosaur figurines, and guess who's in who's in the collection?
Well, I mean, you know what they should do now that they think Spinosaurus is four-legged, or at least somewhat four-legged? They could just make that the new Dimetrodon, because it is and it's way bigger, and it
does have a fin like Dimetrodon.
Yeah, and it's way bigger, and it is a dinosaur. So.
That's right. That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
Plus, he's currently the largest known carnivore.
Right.
We should give him more notoriety.
Yeah. I mean, Jurassic Park 3 did a pretty good job of giving him notoriety, but
that's true. But
yeah. So the teeth, as I mentioned, are quite mammalian, and I mentioned actually about this. We have much more varied teeth. Also, one thing to keep in mind: we did not even think it even had scales. We think it might have had smooth, hairless skin. I've heard this before.
That I did not hear. That's interesting.
Yeah. And its sail was meant to regulate body temperature, which is a precursor to endothermy.
That I knew. That was...
Basically, this thing ain't no dinosaur.
No, not by a long shot.
Yep. And it lived...
Especially if it doesn't have fur... if it doesn't have scales.
The
earliest dinosaurs did.
I always need to silence my phone. I forget to silence my phone for these things.
Tisk, tisk, how dare you.
I know. Well, when I was doing this with my friend Christina, she silenced her phone. And I'm like... I feel so unprofessional. Okay, phone silence. I'm leaving that in because I think it's endearing. This thing was a carnivore. It ate probably, like you mentioned, the Dilophosaurus. It ate probably those because those were the herbivores.
Oh, interesting.
And ate some other things. And it was really big for the time. Like 15 feet is nothing to sneeze at. 15 feet.
And back then, that was some of the larger land animals.
So
people don't understand. It took a long time for things on land to get big.
Yeah, some of them though got pretty big. Like I want to do an episode later on like some of the crocodilians from the Triassic period or like the early archosaurs. Some of them could get quite big.
Ooh.
Like Postosuchus wasn't even close to the biggest.
Really?
Yeah, there was one, I forget its name, it was like 30 feet long.
Walking with Dinosaurs lied to me.
I know. Well, it might have been the biggest at that time.
Maybe at that point.
But I'm talking about earlier, like...
Wow.
Yeah, or like in the early, like before dinosaurs really evolved, there were some big archosaurians that were like 30 feet long. I wish I remember the species.
Huh.
So...
Cool.
They were quite big, and they also think Postosuchus and some of them were also more bipedal, which was really cool, because that makes them kind of like a Triassic T-Rex in my eyes.
Vaguely, yeah. Vaguely the shape, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, that's neat, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Dimetrodon. But yeah, no, it was a good one. I don't think there's really much more to say on it, and it's yes.
I almost forgot. Dimetrodon makes a big appearance in the classic film Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Oh, you were talking about this before we recorded, yes.
Yeah. It's the 60s version of the book Journey to the Center of the Earth by what's the guy's name?
Jules Verne. Yeah.
Thank you, Jules Verne. And there's a scene where they're in the depths of the earth in a giant mushroom forest, and they encounter a horde of gigantic Dimetrodons, except it's a British cast, and when the scientist sees him, he goes, "It's a Dimetrodon!" So Dimetrodon. So
like
I don't
Dimitri.
know. Yeah. Oh, now he's a Russian one.
He's a Dimitri.
But yeah, I don't know if that's the proper term, Dimetrodon, or if that's just what he said. But yeah. And then it's cool because the Dimetrodons are quite clearly iguanas with fins on their backs. So they're running around.
I like the mushroom forest stuff. I think that's a cool trope. I was playing Warcraft 3, one of the strategy games, and there's this part where you go to Outland, this other world, and it has a mushroom forest. I'm like, that's nice.
That is pretty cool.
It's just a fun trope, I think.
Well, it's different to think about.
It is. Anyways, all right, so now we're at everyone's favorite part of the show, and I say this without getting listeners yet, because I haven't put any of this up yet, but I like to say this is everyone's favorite part of the show, where we rate the creature for personal reasons or for like whatever we think it did in the environment, if it did it well. We rate it 1 out of 65 million. Mm-hmm. And beforehand, someone brought up the different factors. It could be like an RPG, like its strength, its stamina, its mana.
Mana?
It's agility, its intelligence.
It was developing endothermy. I'd say that's pretty serious mana.
That's true. It had some good mana. Okay. I'm probably going to rate it... I'm going to rate it 45 million. Yeah, it's pretty cool, but I don't know. There's bigger, better versions of it later in terms of carnivores like that. Although it is an ancestor to us, so that's pretty neat. But I don't know.
I'm going to give it a 52 million.
52 million.
It's.
Nice.
It was one of the forerunners of mammals.
Yes, that's always nice.
Very important with evolution.
Give it respect.
Ecosystem. Yeah.
Respect your elders.
I'm not giving it more because it is not a dinosaur, and I'm sick of how society keeps portraying it as a dinosaur.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
And besides, it would just be cool to see one walking down the street.
Yeah, I think it'd be cooler to see a dinosaur, though.
Well, yeah, of course. If I had to choose between Dimetrodon and a dinosaur.
Well, I guess, if I were to choose, I'd probably choose Dimetrodon because I feel like I could outrun one if it decided to attack me.
If we're talking about which one's trying to eat you, then yes, I don't think Dimetrodon.
If it caught you, it would probably be very brutal, kind of like a Komodo dragon when it...
Probably. I bet you it could go in short bursts.
Oh, I'm assuming it could, too. So I just need to be far enough ahead of it to get a good head start. Okay. All right. So now that's the end of the show for this week. If you want to get a hold of the podcast, you can email us at mattd@matthewdoncreator.com. If you want to find me on social media, you can find me at MatthewDonCreator on Facebook, at MatthewDon64 on Twitter, and MatthewDon64 on Instagram. If you want to contact any of my co-hosts, you can go through that on the email there if you want. Mm-hmm. Ask Stephen about his book and where he got it, and if you can borrow a copy. Probably not, but you never know.
Oh yeah, maybe. But yeah, I'll definitely tell you all about that. And
yeah,
this is where I.
Well, no, I mean I'm just basically going through the list of the plugs here.
Okay.
Yeah. So if the listeners are interested in writing, I have another podcast called The Writ-Wit, where two twits talk about writing. It's me and my other co-host Matt David, who has decided not to do this podcast because he's a loser. No, he's too busy. Also, if you want to read a sci-fi dinosaur book series, I have a book series Megazoic available on Amazon for print and Kindle.
It's good.
Yes,
it's
he's
really
read
good.
all of them and reviewed all of them on Amazon, like a good person. You all should be good people. You should buy it and review it, please.
Come on, it's dinosaurs with lasers, people. What's not to like?
I mean, that is pretty cool. I mean, see, a Dimetrodon with a laser isn't quite as cool, I don't think. Although, I guess it could be like you could soak up the sun and then fire a laser from like a sail.
Solar beam.
Yeah. That's what it could do. Okay.
I also have published...
yes, what do you plug your stuff.
Yeah. I've published poetry with Acorn Haiku, and I have forthcoming poetry with Sci-Fi Quest, which is all about science fiction haiku.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. That's pretty cool.
I got short stories with Daily Science Fiction and 365 Tomorrows. I'm working on a young adult fantasy book. I'll get it out at some point.
Yes,
Matt
it's
has
good.
Read it,
It's good. It's quite good.
Thank you. Yes, he's been giving me a lot of good feedback on how to make it better. So.
As you have for mine too. So.
Oh yeah, we writers have to stick together.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. All right. Well, that's it for this week. I think one of the things that we decided at the end. Is that we make our best dinosaur sound, and we don't think dinosaurs roared, so I'm just gonna go eat, eat,
there.
Eat.
Sounded more like a pirate, but
I'm gonna feed you to the Dinosuchus after you walk the plank. All right, bye guys.
Bye.